start.
Hello, goaters. How are you guys? Hello.
Any direction now would help. Let me give you a piece of advice, she said.
What are you guys doing? You ready to be Milk Diva? Is it time? Are you salivating? My goats did it again. Well, one of them anyway. I mentioned this in another video that I did about lice and goats. That my goats love to star in this show and love to help me help you learn about all kinds of goat stuff. So here we are. My goat Fiona has a staph infection, and if you're watching this, your goat probably also has a staph infection as well, or you're thinking they do. So this is the first time in 11 years that I've ever had this problem. But as I said, they're just so helpful. I just want to help you. So let's dive into what you need to know about staph infections in goats and what you need to do about the staph infection that your goat has. The Goat Gallery, where you guys send me pictures of your goats because I love to meet them. This is Anita and Michael's goats. They are in Australia. They sent me lovely pictures of their area and their lovely goat herd. Charlotte was so excited to send me this picture of her new goat, Petunia Lynn. And Michael got several new goats and sent me a beautiful write-up of his experience with the goats, and it was so fun to read. And this is Michael and Danny Boy. And Christine sent me this little video of her milking her goat with her milking buddy. Really windy outside. We're having a little morning storm, windstorm, but I forgot to get grain. We were empty in the goat shed, and I had to run to our little barn, little shed here that has our grain in it to get some for the goats. And they think they are quite abandoned. But anytime that I go in to milk them and leave for some reason, it's bad. Hey guys, good morning. Hope you're having a fabulous day today. It's been a couple weeks since my new milking stand has been completed, and I love it. It's going so well. Now, one thing that chickens, that is the thing. My chickens are driving me crazy. And I've got to figure out a way to block off this area here because they think they want to roost on this at night, and then they poop all over my milking stand over here. It drives me crazy. So I've been trying to block it off, but then they knock it off, and so I got to get that figured out for sure. And they kick up so much dust in here, it gets really dusty, and they're always in here trying to figure out, find a place to lay. I'm telling you. We'll get that figured out because they really are frustrating me right now. So she's gonna go right back here. They're laying eggs right inside there. So then they flap around and they scratch in here and they kick up all the dust. All right, so I've got her all cleaned up right now. I'm gonna milk her. And she is still, all my goats still have kids on them too. So I am just getting the little bit of extra milk that they have in the morning, making sure that everyone's healthy, that their udders are good, that they're still producing milk. We're getting it figured out. Just do chicken, please. What are you doing, chicken? What are you doing? You stinker, go away. Faith here is supporting 3 babies, so I'm just getting the little bit of extra milk that she has. So how common are staph infections in goats? Well, first of all, know that this is actually very common. You don't need to beat yourself up over this happening to your goat, but it is something that you'll want to get under control pretty quickly, or it can get out of control.
Into your eyes, I see we're out of time. I guess no one's to blame.
So it usually isn't a huge health concern, but it's important to note that it can be contagious to yourself and to your other goats. And like I just said, if it gets out of control, it will then affect their health. This is something that you'll have to be patient about. It can take weeks to clear up. It's also important to note that it can be hard to distinguish between some of the skin issues that your goat may have. There are quite a few of them that can range from mites to fungus to bacteria to viral things, parasitic things, and it may be wise to check with your vet to get a confirmed diagnosis of what your goat is dealing with and how to treat it quickly and effectively. So, does your goat have a staph infection? Well, that's the question, right? So I'm going to share some pictures of staph infections of goats that I found so that you kind of get an idea of what you can be looking for or compare it to your goat. Well, as you can see, there are usually a lot of little sores, almost like pimples on your goat's udder. These little bumps can have pus in them that will need to be removed. They can hinder your milking and the kids even from sucking if these get too bad. And it can just look downright ugly on your goat's backside. These bumps can appear on the udder and on the teats, underside under the tail here as little white dots, and they can have sores around their vulva and anus of your goat, and it can spread to other areas of your goat as well, on their underside and even on their neck. It's all gone, babe. It's all gone. It's all gone. Where did it go? Oh, stop. Don't be that. But let's answer the question, how did my goat get a staph infection in the first place? Well, usually a staph infection will come upon your goat when the conditions outside are really wet. Did you have a wet spring this year? That may be the culprit. In the area outside of your barn where maybe your goats lay down, or inside your barn, is it really wet from the rain and urine? That can cause this problem as well. And if your goat recently had kids, like all of my does did, then their immune system is weakened as well. So it's harder for her to fight off worms and other ailments and fungus and bacteria that just may be presented to her body. You may also have brought home a goat and that goat transferred this to your goats. That's one more reason it is really important to quarantine any new goat that you do bring home. All right, now let's talk about how to treat a staph infection in goats. If you're certain that you're dealing with a staph infection, then this is what you need to do. So you need to give your goats a very clean and dry environment. If where they're laying down is wet, you need to clean up the barn and get that all cleaned up, disinfected, and give them a place to lay down that is completely dry. So that is why it's usually on the underside of the goat, because they lay down, that the bacteria then is presented to them, and they just can't fight that off. So give them a place that they can get out of all the weather outside, and that will really help them out a lot, not just with this, but in all areas. The goats like to be dry. If you do have a goat that has a staph infection and you're milking, you'll want to milk that goat last. As with Fiona. Fiona here is my youngest doe, and she is the one that's presenting with these symptoms, and I will show you how I've been treating her and what to do. So you want to milk them last. Like I said, this is something that can be transferred to you and to the other goats. So you don't want to be milking her first, and then it's potentially on your hands or on what you're using to clean the other goats or whatever, then you don't want to be transferring that to the other goats. So just to avoid all that, milk this goat last. And so you'll want to then be using your lovely examination gloves. You'll want to use gloves as you're working with your goat. These are always nice to have on hand anyway for lots of different things, but this is one of the reasons. All right, so I'm set to work with her. But before I do that, because I don't want to again be touching after I've used her, I need to get Olivia out of here. She thinks that she needs to eat every last bit of grain, and if possible, convince me to give her more grain. I think you're done, sweetie. Let's get you out. One of the things that you will need to get then is something called chlorhexidine. And it is something that is a disinfectant that will help you overcome and clean your goat with this. So this can be found at any of your farm and ranch stores most likely. So it's something you can just buy off the shelf. And it's a very good thing to have a disinfectant that you can even disinfect your area, and then you will follow the instructions inside here for your dilution to be able to use it on your goat. So follow the instructions on this bottle on diluting it as well. And so I have a little cream here that I've been putting on. On your infected area, you will want to trim the udder. If it's on the udder, you'll want to trim the udder, or wherever you find this on your goat, trim that area so that it can be cleaned really easily. The hair won't be getting in the way, trapping any dirt or anything, and it can just dry out. Your goal for this is to dry out these pustules, and so that they will just dry out and go away. And that is the purpose of this chlorhexidine, is to clean it, but also just to dry out what's going on here. So I am going to start here by spraying this. I do have some wipes here as well that it will get out. So I have been treating Fiona for about a week now, and she did have little white bumps on her tail, up on this tail web here, and she has some little dry spots that are starting to dry up. Right here was a bigger area of a little bit of pus. That was the only one that actually had pus right here, but it's drying up nicely. And then a little bit down here and on the side. You don't want to breathe this if it's in the air, so just be aware of that as well. I was holding my breath. I'm just going to clean this up. Okay, so I've cleaned this area. I'm going to spray it again and then let it sit for just a bit so it can just really work and disinfect. I'm letting that sit for a bit, and then I will wipe it off, because again, she does have a kid on her, and I don't need that in the kid to be drinking. So I'm going to give her a bit more grain and then milk her, and then we'll clean it all up and put on the little ointment that I have. As with any time you're dealing with milking your goats, you really want to make sure everything is clean. You want to have a clean udder before you start handling them. So always clean their udders and make sure that that is not introducing any bacteria onto them. And so making sure that is clean is really important. And then afterwards, when you're done milking, using a teat dip afterwards can really help disinfect everything. You've opened up their teat when you've milked, and it can take up to 45 minutes to close. That's why, if you were to feed your goats right after milking, that would be a good idea. Doing something like that where it would keep them up off the ground while right after milking. And so instead of just going, milking and they go out and then they lay down for their morning nap or something, that is something that can help your goats as well. So just something to think about. So cleanliness is really important. Okay, so now I'm going to clean this off of her. If there are sores on them, you'll want to talk to your vet about this. I am not a vet, and so you'll definitely want to, ask your vet or ask a vet about this. But, you want these to be drying up. So that is something that if you put on like an ointment that will keep them, really moist and not let them dry out, that can actually become a problem, I believe. So let them dry out. Use the antibiotic ointment and keep cleaning them once or twice a day with the chlorhexidine, and then be patient. It will, you'll get it cleared up. It may take a week or two, but you'll see improvement. And then you'll just put on the ointment where the affected areas are. And I kind of briefly mentioned that if you do find those little pimples on your goat, get the chlorhexidine on them and clean it, and then pop them, get the pus out, clean it some more. So you will want to remove that pus from those little pustules. Okay, she is treated, and I am seeing improvements. I'll show a little video of what it looked like when we first started dealing with this, and then a video of now what it looks like. And it's been about a week since I've been working with her. As far as the antibiotic cream that you'll use after cleaning them, contact your vet and they will give you the best option for that. And also consider giving a long-lasting penicillin for 5 consecutive days if it doesn't seem to be getting better. So you'll give 5 cc's per 100 pounds of body weight. Chicken again. So you give a sub-Q under the skin with an 18-gauge needle. And then if you do give antibiotics, after they are finished, give her some probios to replenish her gut flora and just support her immune system during this time. And remember, clean all the bedding and all the barn areas and let them dry out as often as possible so that they are very dry. All of what you're doing with your goats, everything that you do, should be working on improving their immune systems. You want them to have as healthy as immune systems as possible, because when they have a healthy immune system, when they're worm-free, they will be able to handle so much more, and their bodies will just be able to fight this off. So that's something that I'm really considering and I'm working on every day, is giving them everything that they need to... My goats are chewing on my camera. Go away. So that's something that I'm working on every day, is working on giving my goats everything they need to have a healthy immune system so that they can fight off things like this. And I don't know exactly why this one out of all the goats got this, but I'm working everything I can to, and I've just gotten some Diamond V yeast culture that I have out with my minerals. So I've got baking soda, the goat mineral, and this vitamin B yeast that is free choice for them, and they've really been going and eating that new supplement that I put out. And so I'm just hoping that that will really just populate their guts and give them a lot of good things for their immune system that will help them through all of this. There is so much that we're learning about our goats every day, isn't there? There's so much to learn, and every day they can present something new to us that we just have to learn. So I hope that this video was very helpful to you. I hope that that the information will get you and your goat staph infection free, and I just encourage you to watch all the other videos on my channel here. They will really help you as you are going through this goat journey, whether you've just brought goats home or if you are a long-time goat owner. So I hope you check those out. I hope you have a great day. Enjoy those goats, and we'll see you in that next video. And it's July and raining. This is why it's just been a wet spring. Wet spring for my goats, huh? You guys are in here dry. Yes, we've got a dry area to get out of, I think. Oh, here's Fiona down here. Laying down, huh? Yeah. Glad you guys have a dry place to get out of. Mm-hmm.